Iron and steel is one of the most important materials in human history. It's been used to make tools, weapons, buildings, and other structures since the dawn of civilization. Today, we're going to take a look at how iron and steel factories have evolved over time. Ancient times. The first iron and steel factories can be traced back to ancient Egypt around 4000 BC. During this time, iron was used to make tools and weapons for the Egyptian army. The Egyptians used a process called direct smelting to produce iron. This process involved heating iron ore with charcoal in a furnace until it melted. The molten iron was then cast into molds to create tools and weapons. Another early center of iron production was Mesopotamia, where iron was used to make tools and weapons for the armies of the Mesopotamian empires. The Mesopotamians also used a process called direct smelting to produce iron. However, they also developed a new technique called bloomery smelting. This process involved using a small amount of charcoal to produce a sponge-like mass of iron called bloom. The bloom was then hammered into shape to create tools and weapons. During the Middle Ages, iron production moved to Europe and Asia. In Europe, iron production was concentrated in the British Isles, France, and Germany. During this time, the process of making iron was still very labor-intensive and required large amounts of charcoal. As a result, iron was still relatively expensive and was mostly used to make tools and weapons. However, during the Industrial Revolution in the late 1700s, new technologies were developed that made iron production much easier and cheaper. This led to a huge increase in the amount of iron being produced and allowed it to be used for a wide variety of purposes, such as building bridges and railroads. One of the major developments during the Industrial Revolution was the invention of the blast furnace. The blast furnace was a new type of furnace that used a forced draft of air to produce a hotter and more efficient flame. This allowed iron ore to be smelted more efficiently and produced higher quality iron. Another important development was the invention of the Bessemer process. This was a new method for purify iron to make steel. The Bessemer process involved blowing air through molten iron to remove impurities such as carbon and silicon. This produced a stronger and more durable steel that could be used for a variety of applications. These technological advancements led to the establishment of the first modern iron and steel factories. One of the earliest of these was the Colebrook Dale Iron Works in England, which was founded in 1709. This factory produced cannons, bridges, and other large iron structures. Another early example was the Geography Works in Germany, which was founded in 1761. This factory produced iron rails for the growing railroad industry. During the late 1800s and early 1900s, the iron and steel industry continued to grow and evolve. New processes for producing steel were developed, such as the open hearth process and the basic oxygen process. These processes allowed for the production of even higher quality steel that could be used for a variety of applications, including the construction of skyscrapers and bridges. During this time, some of the largest and most efficient iron and steel factories in the world were built in places like Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and Birmingham, England. These factories employed thousands of workers and produced massive amounts of iron and steel. The Second World War saw a huge increase in the demand for iron and steel as it was needed to build tanks, planes, and other military equipment. This led to the iron and steel industry expanding rapidly during this time. After the war, however, the demand for iron and steel decreased and many iron and steel factories had to close. In the latter half of the 20th century, the iron and steel industry began to recover and grow again. This was due in part to the development of new alloys and the growing demand for iron and steel products. Today, iron and steel are used to make everything from cars to appliances to skyscrapers. The industry has also become much more automated and efficient. Many of the tasks that were once done by hand are now done by machines, which has resulted in higher productivity and lower costs. The modern iron and steel factory is a highly complex and highly efficient operation. The process of making iron and steel begins with the mining of iron ore. The ore is then transported to the factory where it is processed into a usable form. The iron ore is first crushed into small pieces and then mixed with coke and limestone. The mixture is then loaded into a blast furnace where it is smelted to produce molten iron. The molten iron is then purified to produce steel. Once the steel has been made, it is shaped into the desired form. This can be done through a variety of methods, such as casting, rolling, or forging. Finally, the finished product is coated with a protective layer of paint or metal to prevent rust formation. The entire process of making iron and steel is a highly technical and highly regulated operation. There are many safety regulations in place to protect the workers from the dangerous conditions that can occur during the manufacturing process. For example, the furnaces used to make iron and steel can reach temperatures of up to 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit. That's 1,100 degrees Celsius. Workers must also be careful when handling the molten iron and steel, as it can cause severe burns if it comes into contact with skin. Despite these dangers, the workers in iron and steel factories play an essential role in providing the materials that are used to build the structures and products that we use every day. The iron and steel industry is a major contributor to the global economy. In fact, the global steel market was valued at over $2 trillion in 2021. The largest consumers of steel are China, Japan, and the United States. Steel is used in a wide variety of applications, including construction, automotive, and appliance manufacturing. As the world's population continues to grow and develop, the demand for steel is likely to continue to increase. This means that the iron and steel industry will continue to be an important part of the global economy for many years to come. The future of iron and steel. The iron and steel industry is constantly evolving, and there are a number of exciting developments on the horizon. One of the most significant of these is the development of new and improved alloys. Alloys are mixtures of iron and other elements that have enhanced properties. For example, stainless steel is an alloy that is resistant to corrosion and rust, making it ideal for use in kitchens and bathrooms. Another alloy called tool steel is very hard and durable, making it ideal for use in tools and machinery. There are literally hundreds of different types of steel alloys, each with its own unique properties and uses. And new alloys are constantly being developed. Some of these new alloys are even stronger and more durable than current alloys, while others have unique properties that can be used for a variety of applications. Another exciting development in the iron and steel industry is the growing use of recycled materials. Recycling steel is a great way to reduce waste and conserve resources. It also helps to reduce the amount of energy and water used in the manufacturing process. In fact, it takes about 60% less energy to make steel from recycled materials than from iron ore. As a result, more and more steel manufacturers are incorporating recycled materials into their products. Some companies even specialize in using recycled materials to make high-quality steel. The iron and steel industry has a long and rich history. From its humble beginnings in ancient Egypt to its current state as a major industry, the iron and steel industry has played an important role in the development of human civilization. As technology continues to advance, we can expect even more innovations in the production and use of iron and steel. From new alloys to the use of recycled materials, the future of iron and steel looks bright. Thank you for watching. We hope you enjoyed learning about the history and future of the iron and steel industry. If you have any thoughts, please leave them in the comments section below. We would love to hear what you think about the future of this important industry. Thanks again for watching.